Hi, how's everyone doing today? So today I kind of wanted to mix it up and talk about friends, specifically people who you on a regular basis surround yourself with, not people who, you know, check in every once in a while, or just kind of finalizing and getting together the core group of people who you want to keep around a lot. Is really in it to be in it, and who's kind of just sticking around to stick around and is kind of like wasting my time. I don't know, hopefully with this video I could help some of you guys kind of like detect who you want to keep in your life and who you don't want to keep in your life. For me, I find it very crucial, especially like with me doing YouTube and stuff like that. There's so many like aspects that come with this, and not everybody is really on the same page with certain things, and it doesn't even have to be YouTube. I'm just making it as a personal example. You could, you know, be getting a promotion at a job or doing something like super cool and crazy, and it's just like there will always be a certain amount of people who just aren't on the same level as you when it comes to what you do. I wrote down a couple of things. I don't know, I'm just gonna randomly share them. Hopefully it just triggers something in some of you guys that you can take away from this video, because I like to help people out. That's why I made a channel. Also, making videos is fucking hilarious. Like, it's so fun. First, I wanted to talk about loyalty. Now, when it comes to loyalty, there's a lot that I feel goes into it. It's not as easy as, you know, someone not doing something for you out of your convenience and you just being like, oh, they're not loyal, or, you know, a lot of people tend to get upset with each other super easily, and it defeats the whole purpose of like building a relationship with someone. You can only give someone so many chances. I like to follow like the 3 strikes you're out rule. Sometimes it gets to a point where, again, when history comes into the equation, you've been around someone so long that it's like you undoubtedly have no choice but to surround yourself with that person, you know, because you've, again, had so much history with them. You know, just because someone ended up growing up with you doesn't mean they want you to necessarily grow, if that makes sense. A lot of the times I've had this happen too in the past where, you know, a lot of people like to dawn on the past and what happened, you know, back in the day, or, you know, hey Jason, remember this time when this happened and you did this or you did that? And when you constantly, you know, bring that up in present day, it's really meaningless when you're not even kind of doing that anymore. You know, you grow up for a reason. You're growing, you're changing, you're constantly meeting new people, bringing new values and applying them to your life. And when you always have someone who nitpickets at shit that's not even relevant anymore, it's kind of like, okay, so then where do you stand? You know what I mean? Some of the best people I've ever met in my life, I've met within a few months ago, rather than some people who I've met possibly 8-9 years ago. It's just how it is. I don't know, as you get older, especially after high school and a little bit after college, you really start to see where people stand and who's gonna be there for you undoubtedly, not just out of convenience or, you know, only when they need help with something. Or, of course, there's some people like that, and I wouldn't necessarily say that every single person you encounter has to be, you know, connected with you or be a friend of you in any way, shape, or form. But it's kind of like you want to not just cut people off who aren't needed like completely. I don't like doing that, but you kind of just have to realize and know your place where you stand with that person. So instead of just completely knocking them out of your life, you know, it would be easier to kind of just, you know, maybe hang out with them less often or kind of talk to them a bit more casually as opposed to every day. Because when you hang out with people who may not be giving the same energy that you give them, you kind of realize you waste a lot of your time being around those people. And some people just naturally, I guess, have character flaws. They may not see it. Some people may do things that might hurt you unknowingly, but it's just how they are. I wouldn't necessarily spend most of my time trying to change that person specifically, but just change how you know, approach and be around those types of people. I'm gonna list a couple of bullet points that I've personally had a lot of runs in with, and could possibly give you somewhat of an answer to how to either avoid it or to look at it in a different way. Yeah. So the first thing I would kind of look out for is, you know, if someone's underestimating you for your worth. Again, a lot of the people who I tend to associate myself with, I've known them for like some long times, like I'm telling you, years now. And some of them have kind of picked up and adapted it and have grown along with myself, but some of them kind of just dwell on, you know, what's past and things that, you know, aren't happening anymore, or, you know, inconveniences that happened years ago, but, you know, they constantly bring up because, again, that history, that's all they have time to talk about. You know, when you're hanging out with, you know, friends or just a group of people who you might call your friends, and it's like, you know, you try and prove yourself through something, but you're always getting shut down as if, you know, no one believes in you, or like, oh, if you do this, you know, you're gonna waste our time, or, you know, oh, don't let Jason do something, because again, it's not gonna work. I don't think he can handle it. You know, it kind of starts to get old. I mean, me personally, I'm 21. Do I really have time for stuff like that? Not really. Extremely old. Go sit down. The next thing, this is one of my like biggest pet peeves, because I get so much like backlash from this, is like being the butt end of a joke. A lot of the times I love joking with my friends. Like I feel that kind of makes the relationship that much more enjoyable because you get to have fun. You know, you get to express yourself as much as you want to. But in some cases, some people express themselves either at the wrong time or not the right way, if that makes sense. And a lot of the times when I would speak up for myself, it's always the fact that you're either too sensitive or, you know, oh, you can never take a joke sometimes. And it's like, me personally, I deadass joke 24 hours a day. But the difference between me and certain individuals who I surround myself with is that I explicitly have a filter. You know, like I love making videos. I'm always putting myself out there, but it's like time to do stuff and there's a time not to do stuff. And when I, you know, detect the difference, it's on and off just like that, you know? When someone comes to me and they're being serious about something, I can easily, you know, give them legitimately my undivided attention. It's not that hard to do. But some people, you know, if they have a certain image of you, again, unknowingly, they might treat you as if, you know, okay, if I approach this person, I'm supposed to act this way because this person is this way. Not knowing, literally, we're all human. Everyone goes through shit. Everyone has different views and stuff like that. And there's always some form, I feel like it's some sort of like miscommunication from both parties. So that is another thing I feel that if you kind of encounter that, just kind of know your place and be like, all right, well, if no one's gonna be, you know, be taking me seriously when I need to be, then just kind of distance yourself from it. I don't really know. Another point I put down that is somewhat from the second point is that, you know, everything is, you know, your fault. Have you guys ever been around, you know, some people and it's like, you know, you might have done something by accident or something might have happened or you might have said something. And again, the whole butt end of the joke, you know, they might personally think they're joking, but to you, it's like you can never get a break about it, you know? And you're always getting blamed for stuff and, you know, just everything's always an inconvenience when it comes to you. Another point that I put down, and I feel actually I lied, this is the biggest pet peeve that I have to this day. Like, it's never gonna go away. When people act out in front of other people, you know what I mean? Okay, so look, oh my God. So I've had instances where I don't necessarily believe personally that anyone I hang around is, I guess, racist per se, but look, I'm dark as shit. Sometimes that gets brought up. Sometimes it gets brought up a little too frequently where, you know, you start to not see the joke because, you know, where's the joke? I've had an instance even a couple of days ago, I want to point out that, you know, I was hanging out with some friends and with those friends, there was a +1. Now for me, meeting this +1 was just out of the blue, you know, didn't know what was going to happen. It's like, hey, you know, I'm introducing myself. Once I introduced myself, you know, the friend that I have says out loud, I kid you not, like we're in the garage, he's like, yeah, this is Jason.
He's black.
Like, it just, oh my God, that shit, it irritates me so much. And there's been a lot of times where you would literally bring that up to their face. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and just take it all in. Like, I always speak up for myself, but they just don't get it. Are you catching the hint now? Again, I don't personally believe, you know, any of the people I associate myself with are, you know, racist or, you know, have explicit views towards certain people, you know, in a serious way or anything. But it's like, there's some things you can joke about and there's some things you just, like, there's no point in even bringing up, you know? A lot of the times too, I'm gonna kind of put YouTube in this scenario. When I'm around certain people and I happen to be meeting a new person, sometimes the people who I'm with tend to just destroy the relationship before it even happens. You know, I'm minding my own, I'm introducing myself, and then this person kind of jumps forward front and, you know, explains, you know, what I do and how many followers I might have or views I get on videos and, oh, you know, and they make the place of speaking for me rather than me speaking for myself. That's one thing that kind of can set someone astray from me because it's like, there's no boundary in terms of respect. Hopefully there's not videos being taken like entirely too seriously. Of course I want you guys to take it seriously, but like, I just find this stuff important and not a lot of people talk about it too much. They just kind of go around assuming that the people who they associate themselves with, they have no choice but to keep associating themselves with that person or people just because of the convenience or just because, you know, oh, they might have not any other friends, you know. But I would much rather not talk to anybody than to be surrounded by people who don't relate on the same level as you. Another thing I feel people should kind of watch out for in terms of like friendships and who they should be around is a pecking order. If you're always surrounding yourself with, you know, friends and they're constantly, you know, trying to either one-up each other or someone's always trying to prove themselves to be on top rather than everyone just being there for who they are, you kind of gotta just bounce. I just broke the blind. It's not worth that time. Of course, guys and girls are different. Girls are, for the most part, from what I notice, are very easy opening. You know, like when you have a connection with a girl, you're more likely to feel more open to share more about yourself. That's why like guys and girls cling so much, because it's kind of like, you know, guys are usually the type who don't really open up that deeply. Not even saying that that's what I expect, but it's just like the only thing I care for is like boundaries and a respect level and loyalty. Because again, even though you might be hanging out with friends and stuff, not everybody might care for your best interest at hand. So you kind of gotta watch out for just what you say to people and what you express to people, because not everybody will care about that, if that makes sense. Again, don't confuse the length of your friendship for the strength of your friendship, because people just be on just bullshit for no reason. Like, it makes zero sense to me. Another thing I kind of find necessary as well is people who don't take accountability towards their actions. Like, for me, if I were to do something that I know is wrong or might have come across the wrong way with someone, I apologize, I speak up for it. I'm always gonna, you know, be 100% on it, because why would I sit there and kind of lollygag around not telling people what I mean? There's some people who I currently know personally who, when things kind of go down or something's not in anyone's favor, the person who's at fault will continuously beat around the bush to how it's not their fault. And it's so crazy because it's like, you f***ed up. Like, if you f*** up, just say something. I don't get how people feel as if that will destroy their sense of, like, I don't know, in this case, manliness or masculinity or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's just a waste of my damn time. If you did something, own up to it. We'll talk about it.
End of the fucking discussion.
This video also isn't to be shady necessarily. If you know it's you, it's you. But this is more so me kind of putting it out there in a genuine sense, because I know there's a lot of people who have mixed feelings about who they associate themselves with. You know, again, not everyone is your friend. You may have acquaintances or people you've built a connection with, but not necessarily a bond, if that makes sense. If I say if that makes sense one more time, I know you guys get it. You're not stupid. Again, like I said earlier, I'm not really with the whole just cutting people out completely thing, but I would much rather just learn the difference on how I kind of come across that person when I do come across them. Whether that's, again, hanging out with them less frequently or talking to them less frequently, or when they do talk to you, you kind of talk to them with a bit more of a bland sort of ground. You know, you're not as open with them, or you're not available to get hurt. No, I'm just playing. So again, yeah, I don't know. I just take the people who I surround myself with a bit seriously, because, you know, you potentially are gonna spend a long time with that person. And if there's not gonna be people who have your back with certain things, then, you know, why bother? Again, if the people around you don't want to see you win, you know, they don't want you to be the best, you know, they're not there for you, they're not motivating you, or, you know, they're not letting you know, hey, whatever you're doing, you killing it. That ain't no friendship. That's somebody you talk to, you know? Why would you want someone standing right next to you who don't even care for you? You know what I mean? And this is not a super deep sense, but it's just like, I would much rather want to know the difference of like who's a friend and who's just an acquaintance, or who I could kind of keep on a loose string. Because over time, you build trust with the people who you surround yourself with. So if someone's making it clear, or you've given them fair warnings on how you feel about certain shit, and they're not picking up that signal, again, you don't have to cut them off just completely, but you kind of know that's more of like a personal problem, and that's something they would have to fix. I'm not going to personally go out of my way to fix somebody. I'm going to give them that whole chance for them to kind of realize where they go wrong with certain stuff, and I'm going to distance myself in a way that, you know, you just stand differently with that person. Or again, sometimes you may have to just cut people off completely. I don't hold grudges or anything, and I don't feel any of you should either. Like, you forgive, but you can't forget. Like, I'll forgive you, but I still don't want to be wasting my time around you, because time is something you cannot get back. That's one thing I stress about a lot. Time is something you literally cannot get back. So if you're wasting your time, go do something else, because some people, again, might not have your best interest at hand. So it's better to surround yourself with people who kind of, when it comes down to like real stuff, they get it, they respect it, they kind of hold that up front and just know that boundary set with you. And then there's people who you can associate yourself with who I guess are just there to be there, you know, whether, you know, you go to a party or convenience. Again, they're in town or want to hang out with them, and just that, you know, don't expect anything too crazy out of that. But now, since like I'm really starting to pick that hint up that has just been thrown out there, now I know how to deal with it. All right, that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully, although it was random as shit, you guys understand where I'm coming from and maybe can apply it to your own self, because again, recently there's been a big issue with who explicitly I keep around and how, you know, they kind of act and, you know, all that good stuff. So yeah, a bit different video, but you learned something. So hopefully you guys can take this and just do whatever you want with it. I appreciate all of you. I love every single one of you who constantly are smashing that like button, checking out my videos, asking me to do certain stuff. I really appreciate it. All right, well, that's it for today. Let me go edit the shit out of this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.